Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. McWhorter. Oh, whoops. Oops, dropped something. Sorry. So today I'm going to read uh, one of my favorite books. It's Ada Twist, Scientist. And I know I've read it to many of you before, but here I go again. Now you can even see I've read it so many times that my dust jacket has worn off and been thrown away. Um, oop. Ada Twist, Scientist by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and make her big break, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound in sight and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. And look at the chaos she left behind her, all the toys. And then she fell asleep. She conked out right here on top of the dresser. Her parents were frazzled. They tried not to freak. But as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak, clearly young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked, "Why?" Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck on a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why, then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." She's asking lots and lots of questions. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. And you can see right here, when she's little, her questions are little. And on this page, when she gets bigger, look at her questions are getting bigger. Uh-oh, look at this. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Oh my goodness, what would your teacher think if you did that at school? Would she make the same face as Miss Greer? Ada was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie!" said Ada, which got her to thinking, what is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose there's something to smell, and does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd started the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Oh my goodness. Will she figure it out? I don't know. Ada did research to learn all that she could of smelling and smells, both stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. So a hypothesis is a scientific guess. So it's not a wild guess. She's guessing based on what she knows. But the first one didn't work. It wasn't cabbage stew. So now she has to come up with a new guess, a new hypothesis. Then Zowie! The stink stunk again, just like that. Hypothesis 2, it was caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada twisted. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Oh my goodness, look what she's doing to that poor cat. Of course her parents told her to stop. You can't put a cat in the washing machine. Oh no. Uh-oh, look at Mom and Dad and brother. They don't look happy. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now! By the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said, no. What? Ada queried. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. So they call it the thinking chair. But she's being sent to time out. Yeah. If you were her mom and dad, would you send her to time out? I think I might. She caused a lot of problems. Oh. She sat all alone by herself in the hall. And Ada once more could say nothing at all. There she is. Oh dear. Poor Ada. Oh, my page is stuck. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat. She thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Our mess is a problem, and while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. And each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she started with why once again. Now remember, she's in timeout, and look what she's doing. She's writing her questions on the wall. Oh dear, what's going to happen when Mom and Dad come back? Uh-oh. I'm worried for poor Ada. Look at the wall now. Oh my goodness. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hall and they just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, we'll figure it out. Oh, there was my timer. And that's what they did, because that's what you do. When your kid has a passion and a heart that is true, they remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. And look at all the stuff that they got Ada to help her with science. They got her big paper so she doesn't write on the wall and all this cool science stuff. And then look at the family. They're all reading science books too. They're helping Ada learn more about science. And as for that smell, what could Ada Twist do but learn all she could with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that's on question is the question. And someday, who knows? And there's all her friends helping her figure it out. She's got that tube for helping her smell. Now, if you've ever read this book before, you know there's a secret on the last page. There's the cat taking her bath. But oh, what was it that made that terrible stink? Ada figured it out. Bye, boys and girls. See you again soon.